encourage you guys to actually tweet about it, what's going on, what's happening. The hashtag is officially Women Hackers Unite, hashtag Women Hackers Unite. You can find us on Twitter, we're at Cortex Hub. You can find us on Facebook as well, we're also at Cortex Hub. I mean, just Cortex Hub actually. And then now we'll start. Oh yeah, and there's a competition, sorry. So there's a competition running during today and tomorrow. So what you guys need to do for the competition is you can download the Fashion Freaks app on the App Store or Google Store, I think. And then take a selfie of yourself dressing all nice, and then post it up. And the person with the most likes at the end of tomorrow wins 15,000 Rand shopping voucher. So, yeah, it's a lot of money. So we've got a poster up right if you enter this entrance here, there's a big poster, so just take a selfie with that poster, post it up, and then the person with the most like wins the money tomorrow. And
on your page, on your own page or on the Cortex Hub page?
so when you download it, it'll be on your page.
Okay.
Yeah. So you on the page when you like tag yourself, just tag hashtag Women Hackers Unite, and then all the people that have hashtag that page or that picture, then we'll pick from those photos. Okay. I'm gonna see you.
Hello everyone. I'm Natasha Mahlati, Codex Hub entrepreneur, and I'm your chairwoman today. So this is how we're going to do it. We'll first let our panelists, our ravishing panelists, introduce themselves and just tell us what they do, where they work, and just a bit about themselves. And I have a surprise for you within that period, and then thereafter we can begin. I have a few questions for them. We'll ask them questions and discuss the balancing act between work and our personal lives further. But then thereafter, after I've asked them questions and they responded, we'll have a Q&A session. So we'll involve everybody, then they can pose questions to the panelists, and we can all discuss this and elaborate and share insights. So welcome everybody to the Women Hackers Unite Hackathon, the very first of its kind in this region. And so is the Codex Hub hosting it. So I'll let over to our panelists. I'll start from our lady there.
Okay, so my name is Jeanette Theu. I'm originally from Malawi. I'm an assistant marketing manager at Dimension Data. I've been there for 3 years. That was the first job I got straight out of university, so I'm kind of, that's all I know. What else to introduce yourself? I just recently joined the remote team for the Cortex Hub, so I'll be helping with advising the ladies on how to be, or the marketing area in terms of when they start their businesses as entrepreneurs.
Hi everybody, my name is Wadzanai Chandisaita. I'm originally from Zimbabwe and I'm 25 years of age, and I'm currently working for Suloluto Technologies. We are currently operational in 2 regions, the Eastern Cape and the Western Cape. I'm a regional manager I'm running 18 branches, which consists of training and internet cafes, and we've got business centers as well. I'm an operational person. You know, I've been in the retail industry for 4 years. I was working for Spa before as a manager. So I think, yeah, that's basically about me. Thank you.
So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before I introduce myself, this is the balancing act, so I thought I'd add a little bit of spice to the day and do a little act, just to depict a little bit about the balancing act. So here goes. Sorry, this is a call to my husband on the Vodacom network. Okay. Hi, my love. I just want to let you know I'm on the way to the airport. The chicken's in the fridge, so is the vegetables. They're all ready. You just need to stick it in the oven. I just wanted to remind you that Courtney's got a dancing lesson from 5 until 6. Lauren's got extra maths from 5 until 6:30, and she's also got an oral tomorrow, so I'm not so sure that she knows her work. I need you to just check that for me. And I didn't get a chance to do the electricity, but I did leave the card and some cash at home. Would you mind just popping out and getting some electricity as well? I think that's it for now. I'll see you when I get back. And love, I love you. Bye. So my name is Carol Hall. I'm the Managing Executive for Vodacom for the Eastern Region. And I say Eastern Region, not the Eastern Cape, just because my region stretches as far as Mossel Bay, all the way up along the coast as far as Port St. John's, and then all the way up to Kokstad, the whole of the former Transkei area, the Karoo, and then all the way back. I have 4 sub-regional offices which I'm responsible for, one in George, one in Port Elizabeth, one in East London, and one in Mthatha. And I've been with Vodacom since 1994, so Vodacom is part of my life and is part of my children's lives. I have 2 girls, Courtney's 19 and in first year varsity, Lauren in grade 10, and they've been born into the Vodacom family. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of history about myself so that when we ask questions, you know more or less what to ask. I do acknowledge the men in the house today because men in my life, my husband has played a very, very important role. And I'd like to share some of that with you today because I think it's very important, the roles of men and women, the traditional man and women and how those roles have changed. So I head up the entire region. I look after the technical site that you see behind you. From the network side, I also look after the sales, the marketing, the brand, the customers, really the entire region for Vodacom in its entirety. So I am the only female that runs a region, and I was the first person to be appointed from a non-technical background, in other words, from a non-engineering background, into what was typically known as quite a technical role. So I have a sales and marketing background. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol. We'll begin with the questions that I have from our panelists. Let's begin with you, Carol. We're speaking about the balance between your work life and your family. I'd like to ask you to define the perfect balance in your perspective. What's the perfect balance between your personal life and your workspace? How do you balance the two, and what is the perfect way of doing it?
I guess the real thing is that the scale is up and down at all times, and it's how you manage to deal with it. For me, it's all about teamwork. I have that approach both at work and at home. We are a team. It's not about me. It's not about my success. It's about us as a team, be it in Vodacom or be it at my home. So with my family, we sit down together. We discuss everything together as a team. We set goals together as a team, as a family. We write those goals down, so those are short-term, long-term goals, because it gets tough. It gets tough when you're away from home for a few days of the week, every week. Your kids need you, your husband needs you, but when you sit down and you are able to discuss those goals and have a short-term goal for your family together, it somehow makes them able to focus on what is to come. And so it becomes a little bit easier. So certainly teamwork, definitely.
Michelle, you can say a bit on the same topic.
Okay, thank you. I think for me, and like from Kara, I happen to be single, and I love my career, I love what I do. So, I've seen that, there is no perfect balance. For me, there's an imperfect balance, when it comes to career and family. But, what we can do is that one is to strive, to maintain it, So how I do it, with my family is that I work as much as I can, and I love my family as much. But you can see that at times there's no time for me to, at times just to make a phone call, to my mom and say, how was your day? So what I do, what I've discovered is that on a daily basis, if I'm planning something to do within my schedule, I make sure that I incorporate my family in there, and I make sure that there's going to be a visit to Cape Town to see my mom. I remember there's a birthday for my small sister. So my schedule incorporates my family, and I make sure that I make it a point. The same effort that I give at work is the same effort that I put into my family. Otherwise, you can actually disintegrate from your family. So I think that's just about it.
Okay, just before moving to Jeanette, so if I'm hearing you correctly, are you saying that the gist of it all, or the foundation, is with how you manage your time? Is it all centered around time management and having good time management skills so that you can be able to balance the two?
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. I think we need to create time. As a woman with a career, you need to create that time in the same manner that we create time in the workplace. To do reports. Do a number of things, go for workshops. So I think we need to create time for ourselves, for our families, so that we don't disintegrate completely from them.
I hear you correctly. I guess that's why women are called. That's why we have superwomen, and that's why we're so great at multitasking. So I think it's something that is in our birthright as women, something that everybody's born with, especially women, because we have very phenomenal women such as Carol, who do it so perfectly well. So it's something that can definitely be done. Because just before moving to you, Carol, I remember just a week ago I went to visit the bank. And I had a small conversation with the consultant that was helping me. And we were talking about the event, since I'm at the Cortex Hub, so I was just marketing our event. And he said something like, it's impossible. That's what he said. He was adamant that it's impossible to have a family and have a career. He's like, women, if you look around, the trend is you first study, you finish everything, have your master's, have your PhD, and then only when you're at the peak of your career, then you start looking for a good husband because because it's deemed perfect. So I was like, yes, I agree with you. And he came with very valid points. So unfortunately, I lost the argument because really that is the trend. So the question that he was imposing and his stance was at, this is what happens. You don't get a woman who is 21 or 25 who's working, has a husband and a wife, mostly, because, or not at the expense of the family, because the new generation puts their career first. And Jeanette doesn't really have a spouse or nor a child, so they have something in common with Michelle, because they're both single. So, but then Jeanette just finished her honors. So I'd like to know, how does she balance working? Dimension Data is such a big company, so I'm sure the workload is 2 times. Like, I mean, I'm incubated by them, and I know the struggle. Like, it's fun, but it comes with the burden of the hours. So Jeanette, I don't know what happened there. So Jeanette, how did you balance? Sorry, I'm gonna have to move around. So my question to Jeanette is, how did you balance the study, doing a postgrad in your field, and also managing your personal life, and also serving so well at your company? How did you manage to successfully do that?
Honestly, I didn't have a personal life during that year. It was school and work, period. I think I owe most of my success in getting that done to my family. I still live at home, but I communicated with my family and said, okay, guys, I'm under so much pressure at work. I'm under so much pressure at school. I need somebody to help me in terms of how do I juggle this. So a lot of the stuff that, as a woman, because I'm the oldest at home, so I'm seen as I'm going to put inverted comma, mother. So I'm supposed to do all the housework, all the chores. So I communicated with the family, okay, I can't do that all the time. So my siblings would help when they could. In terms of studying, my sister would help. I study better with people. So she'd always sit there with me and we'll study together. Or at work, if If I noticed that there was a lot of, if the work was piling up a little too high for me, I'm lucky enough to have had a manager who understood that I was doing my honors and who encouraged me to do my honors and said, like, okay, at this point in time, Jeanette will be doing her exams, would like to make sure that she actually succeeds in this. So could people actually help when she's feeling like she's drowning? Could the team, the marketing team in that area, like, could you guys like reach out and say, okay, I'll help you with this area, I'll help you with this area. And then, we work very closely as a team. So like how you mentioned, at your home, at work, we work as a team. If you feel like you need help, like you ask them, and that's how I got through.
Okay. So what I'm getting, and that is just me, is that good time management skills, or finding the schedule that personally works for you, and a good support structure is what's needed to balance these two, if there is a balance, even. I think that's a question on its own. Is there a balance? Can you safely say, and this is posed to the three of you, can you safely say that you are a mother, a daughter, a child, or a niece, or whatever? Are you equally that? And are you a manager, and are you equally that as a wife? For example, Carol, are you equally a wife as you are equally a manager? You said previously that there isn't really a balance, but I'm probing a bit. But which one suffers sometimes or at most?
I think that it's your attitude and how you look at it. If you have a negative attitude and you say this thing isn't going to work, it isn't going to work. For me, I do have a balance, and I am a good mother, and I'm very proud of that. I've never allowed my career to come between me and my children. Yes, I might not have been there for them always, but when there have been very critical times in their lives, I've made absolutely sure that I'm there for them. My mom once said to me, many years ago, I was feeling really guilty. And she said to me, my child, stop feeling guilty, because I was at home with you when you were little, but then I worked. You are no different to the child next to you that grew up, that had a mom that was at home full time. No disrespect to those moms. It's a heck of a job. I can tell you a full-time mom is not an easy job. But what I'm trying to say is that if you have quality time with your children and with your husband, then that is better than quantity time, where you're kind of at home, but you're not really involved with what the kids are doing. You're busy with your own stuff. You're going to gym, that kind of stuff. So for me, very much back to the point of time management and being organized. Those two things go hand in hand. And so I just wanted to share with you that I actually, with technology and the tools that we have today, you're actually equipped to manage your time and to actually, you know what I do? I actually have appointments with myself and with my children. I know it sounds crazy, but if you want to really fit it in, then that's what you do. So, for example, when my kids were little, I would have an appointment on a Saturday morning with the girls, and we would take 2 hours out, whether it be do some baking or have a picnic in the garden. But that was a set time, and it was an appointment, and it was a non-negotiable, no matter what else came up. So it's about prioritizing and really being organized.
I was actually reading a book by John C. Maxwell, where he talks about, leadership, relationships, and mentorship. As I was reading the book, there's a part, that I was reading, and he says that, true success is defined, by a good family foundation. So this man talks about, how successful he was going up the ladder, and he had a wife, and he's got 2 kids, and trying to keep a balance. But, it talks about creating time for his family. So I think for me, as a single lady, I've actually, it's one thing I promised myself: no matter how busy I'm going to become, I will always put my family first. So, and within my employers, it's something that I've made it known to them that when I need to go, because I'm from Cape Town and I'm currently staying here, so when I need to go to Cape Town, I make it known that I have to go if my mother is not feeling well, I make it a point that I visit and I go. And I've also avoided, there's a term which we call, it's called reciprocity. It's whereby, a relationship is one-sided. So when it's one-sided, in terms of, women with a career, they tend to use money, to cover up for that gap, So I promise myself it's one thing that I don't want to do, to use the money that I work for so that it can replace, my attention and my care for my family. So I've put a fine line between work and family and make sure that the both receive my attention. So I think as a young girl, I'm keeping a balance of being there for my family at each and every time and also doing what I do best within my workplace.
Which is awesome. Jeanette?
So I'm single, just like my friend over here. So I agree with you completely about the whole when I do get a family, I don't want work to take over having my family. I want to spend time with my kids. I want to spend time with my husband. I think a main point for me also is that I think that the company that you work for, just like you said, there has to be a reciprocal relationship. So the company has to be structured or geared to supporting you in getting that balance. So at Dimension Data right now, I know of an employee who works there, who's got a husband, who's got a kid, but she went to the company and said, I've been working for you guys for 10 years. The first 5 years I was not married, and I worked hard, and I was dedicated to the company. But now I've got a kid, like I've got a 2-year-old and I've got a 3-year-old. I need to be there for them. So she's negotiated flexi hours. She comes in when she needs to. She leaves when she needs to. But as long as her work is done, that's all the company requires. So if the company can give you that type of flexibility and that type of structure, then I feel it also helps you as a person to balance your life a little better.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I'd like us to look at the companies that you work for, and especially in corporate. I am an entrepreneur and I've just started, and the hours are hectic. Do the company